For money is like motivation as compared to inspiration. Working for money is the action part. And certainly there's always action involved in the allowing of money into your experience. We're not trying to guide you away from action. Doing is really fun. Doing in the flow is way more fun, though, than doing not in the flow. And doing because you can't stop yourself from doing it because the momentum is such is way more fun and way more productive than doing it because it needs to be done. But of course you want action. Action is this manifested point out here on the leading edge. Action is way fun. You just want to do it from a vibrational aligned standpoint, not from a vibrational misaligned standpoint. That's all. Action from the path of least resistance, not action from a path of more resistance. If the emphasis is on the energy work, the alignment work, and then the inspired action, then that's a whole different thing than working for money. What we're talking about is this movement from the vortex where it's unseen into the bank account where it is seen. In other words, this transfer from vibration into material. And we want you to understand there is an infinite array of ways that you are not even considering, that you couldn't even possibly consider. In other words, at best, you can make a bulky general list, but when you get tuned into this and the ideas start flowing, the flow of energy and the flow of economics, the flow of prosperity, unlimited resources. Look even at your economics of today and think about how robust it is in comparison with 100 years ago. And 100 years ago, no one could have conceived of the avenues through which the abundance flows, or the height to which the abundance has swollen, or the degree to which the abundance affects the details of your life experience, you see. So let's not make a puny little list. Let's just call it unlimited and open ourselves to the ideas that are ripe for the plucking now. I'm going to accept the unlimitedness of it. I'm going to accept the ripeness of ideas that I'm about to receive. It's hard for a doer, isn't it? It's hard for somebody who's used to just getting in and doing it. And it's annoying when you do and others don't do. But those who are really doing aren't doing. Those that are really receiving have got this vibrational flow going. Now just answer this as you believe it to be. There's only a slight trap here for you. But answer this as you believe it to be. Do you believe that currently your prosperity, and we're talking about financial prosperity, do you believe right now that your financial prosperity is tied to your action? Because most of you would say, well, this is how I earn my living. I exchange this action for this income. And so let us lay the trap a little tighter for you. If you stopped doing today what you've been doing, would your money flow tomorrow the way it's been flowing? If you didn't go to work tomorrow, would your money flow? And if you didn't go to work tomorrow, for those of you who, if you don't go to work tomorrow and don't do what you usually do, and your money doesn't flow, then what? Then what? In other words, does your money feel dependent on your action? Yes. So, thank you for being honest. Well, for most, that's normal in your economy of today, isn't it? That you have trained yourself or been hired to do something in exchange, or you've positioned yourself to do something in exchange. Economics is about that, isn't it? It's about providing service for one another. Aren't your economics all about your interaction with each other? Here's another question for you. If there was no one else on the planet, would your business or means of making money be necessary? If there were no one else to participate with you in any way, goods or services, would there be any reason for you to provide them? Can you step back far enough to acknowledge that your interaction with one another is what the basis of the economics is all about? Can you step far enough back to acknowledge that economy rests on, rides on, depends on, at the basis of is serving one another in some way. Do you believe that the ways to serve one another have all been figured out? Do you believe that there are desires in the ethers, on the minds, the lips, the hopes and dreams of the masses that are still to be discovered? Do you believe that you have the ability to position yourself as you choose to be the beneficiary of the satisfaction of serving others? We tricked you, didn't we? Because what we want you to embrace first is that your economics and how they flow to you are about the energy that you are flowing outward to others. In other words, it's what you're offering, what you're receiving and what you're offering are the same. They are vibrationally equivalent. And if you can think in terms of the service that you're offering, now we offer that word carefully because you misunderstand it every time someone uses the word. But in this conversation that we're having, where we've agreed that economics is all about serving one another, in other words, it's what it all is, then as you acknowledge that your contribution, what you are offering to this mix, is of value to others, once you go there, now your understanding of economics is in a whole new place that can serve you in a whole new way. So now we'll ask you, are you there yet? Do you acknowledge that it is your service to others? So now, in what ways do you serve others? You serve others by getting energy flowing. You serve others by tapping into the stream of infinite intelligence. You serve others by tuning in, tapping in to the frequency, this high power frequency. You serve others by understanding the path of least resistance. You serve others by tapping in, not just to infinite intelligence, but to infinite prosperity, to infinite abundance of energy, to infinite ideas. If you're serving others, then isn't it the idea that really is at the basis of most service, you see? When you loosen up these cobwebs and you start acknowledging that you could be in the right place at the right time, in more conversations, in more opportunities to uplift, if you would put your attention upon the energy that you're receiving, which then you will be flowing. But here's the most interesting thing about economics. We already said it to you, but we're going to say it to you again. You don't get it until you give it, because it is the asking for it that summons it. So when you get into an attitude of service, which is asking for it on the behalf of others, now you open a really big portal, a really big vortex of abundance, you see. And that's really the place that you want to start with all of this. In what ways can I be of value to others? Now let's start generally. Are you of more value to others when you are ornery or happy? Well, that's not a difficult thing to understand, and yet it's usually not a question that you ask in relationship to economics, is it? Because you're thinking in terms of your action, not in terms of your attitude. But your attitude, your mood, your vibration is everything in terms of what you receive and in terms of what you give, you see. So if you're thinking in terms of being the portal through which all of this flows, do you acknowledge that the world is out there asking? Do you acknowledge that their life experiences are what are causing them to identify what the next economic booms will be? Do you know that there are economic booms in the vortex right now that haven't even been discovered by those who will feel the inspiration to provide the response to the boom that is being asked for? So does it overwhelm you to think about being the creative genius that is inspired to that? We're not asking all of you to be the next Bill Gates, but why not? We're not asking you to be the next innovator of the next big invention, but why not? But what we are asking you to do is acknowledge that there is infinite energy flowing, and enough abundance will flow to serve you in the way that you are wanting to be served once you get into this flow of economics. It's all about energy, you see. As much money is coming to you, we're saying money, financial abundance is coming to you as you are asking for and allowing. But what's interesting, you're motivating yourself to the asking rather than inspiring yourself to the asking. So it's not a clear, open thing that's going on, because in the worrying about what you're going to do with it or where it's going to come from, you block the flow of it. So if you could just concentrate on the fact that the flow exists and on the fact that there is a path of least resistance that is available to you right here and now, if you could just acknowledge that you have the ability to get on this path and you have the ability to receive the flow instead of worrying about where it's going to be, when it's going to be, who's going to bring it, where it's going to come from, how long it's going to last, how big it's going to be. When you ask those questions that make you wobble, then you don't do either one of those two things. You don't hook up to the energy and you don't flow it towards something that is meaningful to you. That was a big economic discussion, but how does it translate into something that you do something about? It doesn't translate into how you do something about it. It translates into how you feel about money. You got to feel like there's plenty of it out there and there's a lot of it earmarked for you. You got to feel that way because it is that way. And then you got to figure out how to figure out. Got to figure out how you got to figure out. You got to feel your way to it. And it's on the path of least resistance. It's not on the path of hardship. It's not on the path of struggle. It's not on the path of determination or effort. It's not on the path of motivation. It's on the path of inspiration. You got to tune into the path, you see, to the path of inspiration. So we have some questions for you. We asked you some earlier. You were quiet about it. We want you to be more bold in your response now. Do you believe in infinite intelligence?
Yes.
And do you believe in infinite abundance?
Yes.
And do you believe that you've carved out a path of abundance for yourself?
Yes.
Do you understand that your vortex holds that path?
Yes.
Do you believe that the path will be inspired to you? Yes. Do you think you'll get there with worry?
No.
How are you going to get there? How are you going to find the trail? How are you going to find that path? You're going to worry your way to it? You're going to struggle your way to it? What do you want to do? What do you like to do? Do you believe that you can serve doing something that's fun to do? Do you believe that you can find satisfaction in what you do? Do you believe that you know what some of those things are? Do you believe that they're queued up and in your vortex already? Do you believe that there's a path already laid out for you that you're just reaching for the inspiration to?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you find that path? This is the question of all questions. How do you find the path? Think about it. How do you find the path? You don't find the path finds you. It's an inspired path. It's not a motivated path. Path will find you. But you got to stay in that general place. You got to be in that place. You've got to highlight within you what matters to you. I like freedom, and I like fun, and I like inspiration. I like great ideas, and I like being of value. And I like sniffing out the trail, and I like following the trail, and I like where the trail leads. The path will find you. You've just got to do the wobble-free work, you see. The path will find you. But you got to put yourself in the place of receiving the inheritance. Sometimes the inheritance comes in the form of money deposited right to your account, and you all think, yeah, that's the method I choose. But sometimes it comes in the form of an idea. Sometimes it comes in the form of a collective experience with others. And depending upon who you are and what you want, it will satisfy all of those things, you see. And so when we said the path will find you, the path has already found you. It's just an eternally unfolding path. It will continue to surprise and delight you, you see. You just got to decide that you want to feel good and that you want to have fun, and what matters to you is this. That's the abundance that is yours. That's the inheritance that's there for you. And the question is, are you ready? Are you ready? Do you really love yourself? Have you practiced that? How much do you love life? Because that's what opens to you. You say,